Hey everyone, welcome to the Fargo 3D Printing Show, episode 50 of the podcast. Yes.
Yeah.
Milestones.
Exciting.
I remember when we did this for our 10th episode, we're like, yes, 10! And then now we're at 50, and it's been, what, a little over a year?
About a year and a half, something like that. Eric's nodding his head. Yeah, it's somewhere around there. Okay.
So what we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about Star Wars, and then we're going to talk a little bit about CES. And what was the other stuff we're going to talk about? I don't remember.
Oh, we'll get to it. Yeah, just Christmas stuff.
Yes.
So, okay, first of all, we aren't really going to be saying any spoilers on this. One, I haven't seen the movie yet. So,
Eric and I have.
Yeah, so you guys just...
Yoda dies.
But if... So if you're worried that this is going to spoil something in The Force Awakens, don't worry, it won't.
There's a guy named Finn.
Finn. Okay, it's just tangentially related.
I'm just going to keep saying things, so you just like, should I listen to that or not?
Okay, I got it. Okay. Anyway.
What did we print, John?
We printed some Yoda popcorn bowls. So Eric, I think, came across this. This is a design. It's a modification of the very popular Yoda head design.
We don't have an original one, do we?
No, we don't, but people get the idea.
Yes.
So the people who modified this, it was made by Printed Solid, and it has a bowl hollowed out on the inside. And it also did some other things with the design too. It trimmed the ears up a little bit more so that it could print better without supports. We did use supports when we printed this, just mainly for under the chin and a couple sections on the ears.
Yeah, you can kind of see maybe against my black shirt here, kind of some Yoda ear hairs.
Yeah. So the one here was printed using buzzed beer filament, and then this was printed using natural PLA. And okay, so Jake, you and a couple of the other guys actually took these to the movie premiere last night.
Yes, and I have pictures, so we'll put those up of the popcorn bowl. So I didn't actually dump the popcorn in the bowl because I was like, oh, there's butter on there, and I don't want to get butter all over the Yoda head.
I like that that's what you were worried about, was getting butter on the Yoda head.
But I also got a large popcorn, so it was like the volume of that wouldn't fit in here.
Right.
And so I just kind of like snugged it in there, and your brother came with, and so he actually dumped popcorn in his, so that's why you could probably see some.
Yeah, there is a little bit of popcorn.
And Sarah's actually going to dump some popcorn in there as well tonight when she takes that with. So we did get a couple people. It was a couple people who were just like, "The heck is that?" And then some of the staff, like I was walking up to the concession stand, I just set this giant thing on the table to pay, and they're like, "Oh my God!" All right, not supposed to touch the
Jake,
table.
what did we say about the table? No shaking the table. Coming out of hyperspace.
She's just really excited about it.
Yeah.
And one of the guys actually wanted to buy it from me because he's like, can you put liquid in it? And again, not with this style of 3D printing. If you seal it, we could.
Well, I mean, and it's not that you can't put liquid in it, it's that maybe you shouldn't. I mean, these are PLA-based stuff. I mean, we'll talk about that another day.
And we have multiple times.
Yeah.
The thing with this one, though, is so when we were printing it, it got to the end of one of the spools, and what kind of happened, you can kind of see, I don't know if you can see in this one, but he's kind of got this weird headband thing going on. What happened when we were printing this?
Okay, so first of all, these were both printed on the MakerBot Z18. The original design was printed on a machine larger than the Z18, but so we scaled it down to work in the Z18, and as it was printing, we ran out of one spool of buzzed filament. So this has a pretty hefty infill. I think it's at 15%, sliced with Simplify 3D. So it used over a kilogram of material. So when it got up to this point, there's a little bit of filament that was hooked on the inside of the spool, you know, like when you start a spool, like when it's starting to be wound up. Well, the extruder was pulling at it and didn't realize that it wasn't moving. So the filament jam detection was turned on the Z18, but because there was filament present in there, it didn't detect that
it was out.
It was actually out. So it just kept printing. We didn't catch it until probably 3 or 4 layers later, started the print again. There was enough that it was able to continue printing, and it turned out okay. But yeah, Jake, you did kind of a little welding job with a soldering iron here. I mean, it's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad.
Oh, thanks, buddy.
Yeah, I know. High praise.
No, I mean, all I did was I took around the hole, where the hole was at, I just took a soldering iron, made it big enough for me to fit a piece of 3 mil filament in there, and then I just melted and smoothed out the surface. I know that there's been a couple Kickstarters for some 3D printing tools that does that with different tips.
Yeah.
Problem I run into a lot with the soldering iron is you burn it, and then when you burn it, it just sits on the soldering iron head, and then it just kind of cooks and becomes oily.
Yeah.
And then when you go back to smooth it out, that oil transfers to the part, and then you get some of these darker spots in there. But from far away, you can't really tell that I soldered it. I was going to sand it, but it took me about an hour and a half to 2 hours just to solder around the entire thing to make it look nice.
Well, I mean, it still served its purpose. It looked really cool. You were able to take it to the movie. I mean, people, I think, really appreciated it. So, all right, so we have the two Yoda bowls, and then what other prints do we have here? It looks like we have, okay, so this is a really cool print. This is the Millennium Falcon. If you're watching this, I probably didn't need to say that, but it's the Millennium Falcon. The thing that's really cool about this is the design is able to be 3D printed, and it prints like this vertically without any supports needed. That's not to say that supports wouldn't help, but you don't really need any supports to print this. One thing that we found, we tried to print a larger version of this on the Z18, is it did start to tip because it just starts getting really heavy, and if there's any sort of movement back and forth, it has a really difficult time just staying in one spot. So, you know, it starts wiggling around ever so slightly, and it does that enough times, it loosens it from the build plate and it topples over. And if you look at the Thingiverse page for this, it seems like that's a pretty common thing that people run into.
Try some helper discs to increase the surface area of the raft if you use a raft. Try that, and that might help with that.
Yeah, so that would very likely help. And then, let's see, what other prints do we have? So these we found out, we actually found out about these in a 3D Hubs, 3D Hubs email. So someone created a low poly version of Darth Vader and a Stormtrooper. So the great thing about these is because they're low poly, they've been altered a little bit so that they 3D print more easily than a really highly detailed model. Because I think there are some detailed models out there, but they're not as, just the print quality when it's done, it's not as great because there's almost too much detail as far as small overhangs, that sort of stuff. But yeah, I mean, those prints worked out really well.
I think you were starting to print Han Solo's blaster.
Yeah.
And we haven't assembled it yet.
It's just things got really busy around here. So I have all the pieces printed. I just haven't finished them and fit them all together and assembled them. And then I also was thinking bringing a blaster, even a 3D printed one, to a movie theater. Yeah, I mean, in today's world, maybe it's not the same as if you did that 20 years ago. So I just didn't want to deal with the hassle of that either. So that was a project I just put to the side. We'll probably pick that up again later once we have a little bit more time. Really do a nice job finishing it, painting it, weathering it. Because you have a friend, well, we have a friend that is really good at
Brian
doing
Glare,
that
he's
kind
been
of
on the
stuff.
podcast.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
I want him back on the podcast. So, Brian, if you're listening, you're going to come back on the podcast because he did a really cool project for Halloween this past year. That was Daft Punk. He did one of the Daft Punk helmets on his Lulzbot Mini, and it turned out really well. And a lot of people were impressed with it. So, I want him back on the podcast to talk about that and kind of how he's been using 3D printing as an architect and in his personal life as well.
Yeah. So that covers it for the Star Wars prints. There are a few other prints that we have on the table. So I guess these, which are going to be difficult to see on camera, but this is a Christmas tree ornament that has the Fargo 3D printing logo in it, and it spins. So right now,
what's on the back?
So on the front you have the Fargo 3D printing logo, and then on the back you have a snowflake. So it has a really cool effect because these, I think, are printed in biome, right, Eric? Yeah, so these are printed in biome, so you have that really nice silky, shimmery effect on it. I think we're going to put these up on Thingiverse, so I think the link will be in the show notes if you want to download your very own. And then the other print that we have on here.
Sound really, oh.
Yep.
They're a noisemaker.
Yeah, it makes that sound.
So check out our Instagram because we actually did it with an air compressor and a little can of air, and that was loud. It doesn't sound very loud on the audio of the Instagram, but it was actually really loud.
Hook it up to some speakers.
Yeah.
And then crank
it. No, it's just I don't think the
frequency of it was outside of what the mic was able to pick up.
Kind of, and what was I gonna say? It sounds like a little turbo.
Yeah. So then the last print that we have on the table is this shark fin. Oh, wait.
One
that
more.
one was, I didn't see that one. Look what you did.
Ah, dang it.
Just going to lean way over here. Way over.
Oh, I hit the table again.
All right, so Jake, the last print is...
It's a maze.
Okay.
I don't know what you're... I was expecting you to say.
Maze is in labyrinth, not as in corn. In case there's any confusion.
This would be a giant piece of corn.
Yeah, so this is a really neat 3D printed maze, like you said, Jake. It is shaped like a Christmas tree, and then I think if you had a little tiny ball bearing, you'd be able to actually roll it through. Yeah, well, yeah, or a BB, yeah, that would work really well.
I know what we were thinking about doing was actually bringing up the sides and then putting a piece of acrylic over it and then gluing it in there so that you can actually have your own little maze with the BB in there.
Yeah, that would work.
So
maybe another
Eric,
project.
Did you find this?
Sarah made it, I think.
Sarah made it? Okay.
I extruded it pretty much.
Ah,
Okay, cool.
yay, teamwork.
So then the last print that we have on the table is the shark fin. So we'll talk about that at the very end of the podcast, but that's kind of a cool thing that we have going on related to shark stuff. So holiday stuff. I guess going off that Christmas tree ornament that we showed and then that Christmas tree maze, we just want to wish all of you a very Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, whatever holiday you celebrate. Hope you get to spend a lot of time with your friends and family. It's just, it's that time of year. We're going to be taking a break from the podcast for probably a few weeks, a couple weeks for sure. And then the next podcast that we're probably going to do, we might have a short one squeezed in, but the next big one.
We'll probably have one at CES where we just say, hey, we're at CES.
Yeah.
And I know Eric will be, our whole team will be there. And so I think we'll do something, not live from CES, but we'll do something where we're at CES talking about what we've maybe seen for first couple days or something.
Right. So we were there last year. They have a whole section for 3D printing related stuff. The big thing that we want to know is we're going to be in Las Vegas for CES. I'm sure some of you are in Las Vegas, maybe even for CES as well. It'd be great to get some sort of meetup. We'd love to meet you, talk 3D printing.
See what you guys saw. Have a chance to meet us. I know we're thinking somewhere, I'm not sure, it's probably not gonna be the first 2 days or something, but we'll figure out when and where. But it'll be during the middle of the week, so that, or towards the end of the week, because the show starts on a Tuesday, so it'll be like a Wednesday, Thursday thing. And then we'll figure out where we're gonna meet, what time, and then we'll probably push that out through social media with Facebook and
probably through the mailing list too.
So we'll push it out a little bit of everywhere.
Yeah.
And I think with orders, so if you guys are wondering about shipping orders, John, maybe you can touch a little bit on the Christmas Day and Christmas Eve. Our offices will be closed, so orders will be processed the day after Christmas Day. So if you want your orders in, put them in probably the day before Christmas Eve.
Yeah. And then New Year's Day as well. Although New Year's Day, I don't think there's really many shipping options running as it is. But yeah, so I guess on that, we do have some cool products that we've added to the site. One thing that we're doing is when we come out with new spare parts that we've developed, we're putting them under this Shark Parts brand. So this is something, if you've been to the site, for example, the MakerBot Replicator 2 and 2X Y-axis assembly upgrades and the aluminum carriage upgrade, it's called Shark Parts. We have that in front of it. So we're really going with this theme for our spare parts. Now, on top of the spare parts, we have a filament brand too. So this is filament, right now PLA, that's been manufactured specifically for us. It's really good quality stuff, really reliable and dependable, and it has a price point that is really tough to beat. Because we know a lot of you guys are printing a lot, and we want to make sure that we're able to keep you supplied with that stuff too. So specialty materials, we carry all the Freedom USA stuff. So that's the cool stuff like this buzzed filament. And then your basics, your PLA and eventually ABS, just basic colors. That's the Shark Parts stuff. And so moving away from the filament side of things, under the Shark Parts brand still, we did add some more stuff.
We will be adding more stuff in the very near future. We'll be adding a couple of our own parts that we've designed, and we'll also, I think next year we'll have a handful of other stuff coming out as well. You'll see some packaging changes with some of the parts. They will, instead of shipping loose, they'll actually ship in a box now that is specifically designed. So that'll be,
yeah, with the aluminum parts,
Yes.
watch out for that. It's a pretty slick package.
yes.
So that's on the, I guess that's the cool part.
Yeah.
Cool part stuff. And then fans is something that we've been getting a lot of requests for, both the front fan for the Rep 2s and the side blower fan, so the fan that actually blows air onto the print. We now have those in stock.
And we'll have a jumper cable for the blower duct fan, a quick connect, because what MakerBot would do is they would actually solder in that blower duct. And what we have now is the blower duct itself will have a little quick connect so that you can connect that into our extension piece and then plug that right into the board. So if you ever get an issue with the blower duct fan going out again, or you get a bad blob, or board gets fried, you can just take that fan off, and then it's just a quick and easy
Without needing to
assembly.
break out the soldering iron.
Yeah.
And then there's another another product for the Rep 2 and 2X. It should be coming out in about 2-3 weeks. It's not a huge secret, but all I can say is that it's going to be a really hot item.
Well, we could probably say.
You can say that?
Yeah, I mean, well, I could probably. So we'll have the.
I don't know. We should hem and haw about it for another 10 minutes.
Let me just shake the table again.
Hey, I didn't touch it.
It's bull.
I didn't touch it.
It's the Force.
Anyway.
Whatever. So we'll actually be carrying a MakerBot stock heater cartridge that has been asked upon. We'll actually be coming out with that in about, it'll probably be the week of CES. We'll probably release it, and then we'll have another option for the heater cartridge as well, coming out shortly before or after that. So for all of you that have been asking about the heater cartridges, they are coming. They're just in the final stages of testing to make sure that everything works well, and it should be hitting the shelves here in probably the next couple weeks. We'll also have, coming up, we'll have our own dual version of the dual carriage for the 2 and 2X, some different tweaks to that that help it with assembly. And then, so be on the lookout for that, probably January, February. And then everything else that we got going on we'll release when it's ready to go after testing. So be on the lookout for more cool stuff.
But I think that's about it for this episode. Again, on behalf of Jake and I, we want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and hope you get to spend a lot of time with your loved ones this year.
Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year
if we
too.
don't get to a podcast.
And hopefully we see some of you at CES.
Yes.
Definitely throw comments down in the comment section of this.
I think tickets are $100 until December 31st, if I remember correctly. So if you haven't registered for CES, tickets are $100. Otherwise, they go to $300 after. Maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong in that. It's somewhere in December that the price changes. So just forget I said anything.
Done. On behalf of both Jake and I, again, thank you for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to us. If you like what you hear, subscribe to us on iTunes as well. If you don't want to subscribe there, but you want to keep in touch with us, subscribe to us on, like us on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, even. Definitely Instagram. Instagram's something that's been really interesting lately. So if you haven't already, at least go check out the Instagram feed for Fargo 3D printing.
A lot of our day-to-day stuff is sometimes in there too, where we like this noise thing just randomly came about that. So there's a lot of fun Easter eggs in there.
Yeah. So again, thanks for watching, and happy holidays.
Bye-bye.
If you want to show this spinning, it doesn't spin freely, but if you squeeze it on the sides a little bit, it kind of makes the tolerance a little looser. So if you squeeze it on the sides, you can spin it better.
That's gonna be obnoxious.
Okay, Printed Solid is the one who designed it.
Solid.